Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you, which means yesterday, May 3rd, was Free Comic Book Day. Let me show you what I got. So, hi, this is James for Read More Comics. If you like my content, please like, share, or subscribe right down here below. And let's go ahead and start talking about comics. So yesterday was Free Comic Book Day, and I'll be honest, with all the upheaval and diamond distribution, and it looks like, as of today, it looks like it's going to be divided up into two, with not a lot of mention about Free Comic Book Day. I don't want to see the glasses half empty, but maybe this is the last Free Comic Book Day ever, which would be a terrible thing because it's a lot of fun. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to hit two comic book shops in Mishawaka, the town right next door. My LCS, buymetoys.com. You can see right there's a picture. And then I hit Warehouse Comics and Games, which is just a couple blocks away. Here's a picture right here. So let's go ahead and start. Here's my haul from Buy Me Toys. And this is something I try to do. When I go to celebrate this, I try to pick up something. My LCS Buy Me Toys was honest about it. They're doing this for their customers, the people that come in every week and buy comic books just to celebrate them, which is an awesome thing. But I feel that it's kind of a reciprocal relationship. And so I did pick up a couple things, and we'll get to that in a moment. I had a list, Buy Me Toys let me pick up 5 books, which let me get most of my books. There were a couple that were canceled, and I wasn't aware of that, looking at you, Valiant. And I'm going to be honest, I think maybe pickings were a little leaner this year. I don't know. In past years, there would be a dozen or more books maybe I would be looking for. And here, after 5, I was pretty much done. And so I went over to Warehouse Games. I was just picking up comics to pick up comics. So let's start with this one. The first book, I almost dropped it. First book right here, we have Amazing Spider-Man Ultimate Universe. I got this one because of Ultimate Universe right there. I really have been digging Ultimate Spider-Man. Outside of Miles Morales, probably my favorite Spider-Man going on right now. Jonathan Hickman is telling an amazing story. And there's an event coming up, Ultimate Incursion, that this is supposed to kind of be a prologue or prelude to, maybe. I don't know. Also, there's supposed to be a Miles Morales story in here. I almost always pick up the Amazing Spider-Man Free Comic Book Day book, even though I'm not a big Amazing Spider-Man fan, because of Miles and some of the other things they'll do with it. The next book on my list was Fantastic Four plus Giant Size X-Men. This right here is there because I am a huge fan of Ryan North's run on Fantastic Four. I think if you haven't been reading that book, definitely recommend it, especially with the movie coming out in a month. Is it a month? I think it's June. Yeah, next month. Anyway, and there's supposed to be kind of a fun Ryan North Fantastic Four story in this, in addition to some X-Men story, which that's just kind of icing on the cake. The third book on my list was by Jim Zub. This is Conan Surge of the Serpent, leading up to another Conan event. Last year we had Battle for the Black Rock, I think. Anyway, it was really cool. So I'm looking forward to what Jim Zub has been doing. Titan Comics, and in my opinion, has been swinging for the fences with Conan titles. This one was a late edition. Like all my other books, I had kind of mapped out about a month ago. It's a wonderful thing about the Free Comic Book Day website. It laid out everything. And then I had to do a little digging around to find out more about them. This one I heard about on Bleeding Cool, Post Malone's Big Rig. I thought it would be fun. I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan of Post Malone, but I do respect the skills, okay? I know he is a comic book nerd. He's a Magic the Gathering nerd, and so I get it, and I'm hoping this is a pretty awesome read. It's kind of off the rails if you haven't heard about this. It's set in middle-aged Europe. Okay, so that's interesting. There's some sort of demonic invasion There's an order of knighthood, and they're praying for salvation, and a big rig arrives. So anyway, cover looks cool. Then on my list, I wanted to get the Diablo Free Comic Book Day book. Because I'm a big fan of the first Diablo, love the second Diablo, even though I never got to finish it. I got stuck right in the end, made some poor character choices. Diablo 3, awesome game. Anyway, so they didn't have that, and I was looking around, and this was on my list kind of as like, well, if it shows up type of thing. So this is best of 2000 AD. I picked up copies of 2000 AD, not the Free Comic Book Day 2000 AD in the past, and really dig the stories. Loved the movie with Carl Urban in it. And so I figured this would be a no-brainer. I think it's a reprint of a couple different stories. It's not something where I'm going to like try to pursue, but I kind of dig the world of that's created here. And then this was on my list. I Hate Fairyland Once Upon a Time. I think I read somewhere this is the 10th anniversary of I Hate Fairyland, and this is reprinting some of the stories. I'm considering not necessarily collecting the individual floppies because there's a lot, but I think there's an Omni. Definitely kind of look into that because I love Scotty Young's work. And I've read some of the Free Comic Book Day I Hate Fairyland books in the past, and they're fun for adults. So here were my purchases outside of that. They had some back issues I hadn't been through before that were kind of off to the side away from their normal back issue bins. Buy Me Toys, in kind of the middle of the store, is dominated by long boxes, and on one side of this row is all Marvel books, on the other side is DC books, and I'd flipped through a couple areas looking for some back issues. I've been through it before, and unless they get new stock, I wasn't expecting it. But off to the side, there were a couple short boxes, and I went, ooh, what's here? And so I flipped through it. There were a couple of Conan books, but I already had them. And there were two other books that kind of have a connection to Fantastic Four. And so that's one of my collector goals. And there are all these little, what's the word I'm looking for? Mini-series. That's it. That shows up here and there. So here we have, I already have issue number 1. This is Mephisto versus the Fantastic Four. We got Mephisto versus X-Factor. Mephisto versus the Avengers. So I'm just down to one book. I think it's Mephisto versus Thor, I think. And let me reach for this. I got this right here. I was eyeballing it earlier in the week when I picked up my comics for the week. And I was like, I think that would be a good home for Ultimate Spider-Man. And I have some other tie-in Spider-Man books that I've collected as I've been working on my Miles run. So I think that's where that's going to end up. And hopefully later in the week, I'll share a video of how I organize my books, how I curate, because that's kind of the word I'm going for. So that was Buy Me Toys. Then I went around the corner and I went to Warehouse Comics and Games. They have a larger footprint than Buy Me Toys, I think, but it's because it's like 3 different stores in one. They have a comic book store in it. They have a gaming store where they do Warhammer 40K. I think they're a licensed distributor. They do all sorts of miniature type games. They sell pops. They sell Magic the Gathering, and it looks like they were getting sports cards too. So they got a lot going on there. I only go there for the comic books though. So there were a couple freebie things. I got King in Black tattoos. I almost considering wearing this when I go to school tomorrow. Probably not though. I picked up one of these. This was in the foyer. After I picked it up, I was pretty sure I have this print, so that might go to one of my grandkids. And here we have the other books. And these are all books that were kind of tertiary on my list. It wasn't a priority if I didn't get them, but I was like, oh, okay. So I like Mark Spear's work. It reminds me a lot of some other artists like, Names totally escape me. I'll put it right down here. And it will blow your mind when you see it, because it's just like, how could Alex Ross, that was it. Okay. Anyway, it kind of has that Alex Ross feel. And so while I'm not going to go out and collect his covers just to collect it because he's the new shiniest thing, I figured free comic book day, why not? So I got the Mark Spears Monster Zero. Let's see. Because of the color, you can't see the monsters up there. So I read a review, said it was a decent, it was a pretty cool book, and it looks like an old 80s VHS tape. This is actually a book I wasn't even looking at getting, but I went, what the heck? We got Star Wars #1. And this one curates 3 different stories. I'm not sure if they're reprints or not. And this is the same cover. This is the Noto cover they're using for the new Star Wars series that's coming out this Wednesday, which takes place after Return of the Jedi. I'm kind of looking forward to that. And then I read a review of this. This is Transformers Worst Bot Ever. It's the first appearance of Ballpoint, a Decepticon that can turn into a pen. This was on, what was it? I'll put right down here where I read the review for this. So anyway, I saw this and I went, I'm going to pick this up because that just sounds like fun. Am I going to get other Transformer books? No. And I think this is for kids. So anyway, forgot a book. Okay, so this actually, if I could edit in real time, this is something I bought at Buy Me Toys. And this was on purpose. So I got the Foily DC All-In 2025 special, and it's a flip book. So this side is the Absolute Universe story, and then on the other side, and I'll go ahead and take it out because it's pretty cool. I think the foil version of this works way better, like this cover, than the A cover, the free comic book day one. You had to pay for this. This was $9.99, but Buy Me Toys took $2 off. And then here's the Summer of Superman. Oh yeah, it has a Dan Slott's story about Superman. So that's a pretty cool cover, though this is not, I don't know, the Superman face looks a little off to me. I can't place it, but this cover looks sweet in foil. So anyway, I picked up that at Buy Me Toys. This is, I think, the second year in a row. DC's done this before, where they'll have a free comic book day book, but then they'll have a foil copy of it. And if you're speccing, go for the foil. And if you're a collector, I'll be honest, I'm going to go for the foil because that is wicked cool. So he had some at Warehouse. They had some back issues. In some bins off to the side. These were discounted. They were $2 and under. And then in the main area, kind of at the heart of the store, if you will, they have multiple rows of back issues. It's super organized. Everything is bagged and boarded. But it's a little bit more pricey. Not to the point where I think it's excessive. I have found some books I've been looking for from like Conan, Bronze Age Conan, at a reasonable price between $3 to $5, which for most back issues of Conan, early like sub 200, that's a decent deal. So anyway, let me show you what I got. First, and I wasn't looking for this, most of the discounted books, there wasn't anything that stuck out to me that like, hey, I need this. But I got this anyways, and I'll tell you why in a moment. So this is Marvel Unleashed. This is a variant with Miss Minutes right here walking some dogs, okay? Reason why I got it, and this obviously was part of a collection they purchased. It came in a Mylar. So this was a $2 book in a Mylar, and I went, well, the Mylar in itself is making it worthwhile. I already have this. This was a book that came out last year that featured a bunch of Marvel pets. So Unleashed is really literally referring to dogs. I don't think I've read it yet, though. So what I might end up doing is keep this issue, obviously. Miss Minutes is a really cool variant cover. I like that. It kind of has a retro vibe to it. And the other one I might throw into I'm beginning to build up some books that next Halloween I want to be able to be out and let kids get a comic book instead of candy and candy. Haven't decided yet. Anyway, so I picked up this, and then there were a couple variant covers of a title that just finished that I thought I pre-ordered them. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Previews world sometimes to me seems a little wonky. That's the web portal that my LCS, My Me Toys, uses. And so these are books that I saw when the title finished I wanted to get. And the title I'm talking about, this is Shazam. This is volume 4 that just finished up. So this is Shazam issue 19. I know I pre-ordered this one, but for some reason, maybe they were shorted or whatever, it didn't go through. I don't know. Anyway, this is a Mark Spears cover, very Alex Ross vibes there. And then there was this one. This is Shazam issue number 20. And again, really cool cover. This is by In-Hyuk Lee. And this was kind of a corresponding cover. There was another cover for might have been issue number 19, where two members of the Shazam family were walking side by side. So I thought that was kind of really cool, knowing this would be the end of the series. Yeah, this is issue number 20. And so in the primary back issue bins, this is a book I picked up first. And considering the price, I thought this was pretty good. This is Conan the Barbarian King Size Annual number 4. Okay. It is square bound. It's hard to see right there. You can see square bound. And so when looking at it, it's a really nice clean cover. The art is really sweet on this. So the colors pop. Probably could use for a press, but I'll be honest, this issue doesn't have any significance. This came out, though, in 1978. I was a wee lad of 6. It does have, let's see if you can see it, right there next to the 4. Someone wrote 29. I don't know why. So very cool edition. And while it's not been my focus for my yearly comic book goal, Conan's been kind of my backup, my B team, my second string quarterback collecting goal. So whenever I'm out and I'm not finding anything that fits my primary books, I've been picking up Conan, and for some reason I am finding it everywhere and at great prices. So that was my haul for Free Comic Book Day. If you liked what you heard, please hit the like button down in the bottom. Leave a comment if there's something you really liked or you got on Free Comic Book Day that you didn't see. Share it. And please do subscribe. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to read more comics.